Yeah, I get it, John, know what I mean?
Are we on?
Yeah.
Are we? I
Yes.
don't know, are we?
Yeah, we're on.
We're on, okay.
We're on.
Well, welcome in, folks, to this
I should have
Monday's
kept that there, Stephen.
edition of Entertainment News here at MB. I'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on this Monday night on our YouTube channel and, of course, our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin, our co-host in the bright cap. It's John C.
Yeah,
Walsh. How you
I've
doing?
this fucking hat on now,
Yeah,
haven't I?
I've noticed a few people commenting on it, John liking it. It's a very nice
have they?
hat. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
very nice hat indeed. You're not
Yeah.
going to get a collection of these ones?
No, I'm going to get I was watching the Hungarian Grand
Yeah.
Prix and he had a dapper little bright pink, purplish one on, so I'm going to get that.
Sounds, I think that's the one you showed me. It's
Yeah.
almost like a dairy milk.
No,
Oh,
there's
no.
another, it was another one.
No.
No, this was like fucking hardcore. Like a luminous pink.
Right, okay, so it wasn't that
Violet pink.
Yeah.
So
it
yeah, I
wasn't
mean,
the
I'm a Lewis Hamilton
one.
man.
Yeah, you certainly are, yeah.
And a milkman.
And why
Although I
not?
drive a Mini
No,
for now.
that could be the next one.
I'm getting a Mercedes next.
Yeah, so anyway, we're here to talk about TVF's new upcoming show, John. I'm saying upcoming, it's 2024. But then again, we're coming into the second half of the year, so it's not that far away, is it, really, when you think about it?
Fucking terrifying.
And where we'll be, we don't know yet. We'll certainly not be sitting here.
We won't.
Certainly not.
No, this is going to be changing.
Yeah.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah, the studio's going to be going out the door and we'll see what happens. We may have to do some remote stuff for a while, John. I don't know how that's going to work with web series.
I don't know how it's going to work with the internet.
Yeah. Well,
let's
that's
hope
it,
I have high-speed internet.
I never even thought of that. That's even worse than I was
Yeah.
thinking.
But
I was thinking, how are we going to do watch-alongs remotely? I don't know if it's possible.
it's possible for sure, but
Yeah.
we'll hopefully not have to do that,
Yeah.
Stephen. We'll
Hopefully
get something sorted out.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm going to Melbourne,
Yeah.
like some lucky bastards.
Hamish.
Hamish McFucking, whatever his name is.
Carton.
Hamish
Yeah.
Carton.
Yeah, John.
Wish I was going to Melbourne.
Now, if I'm saying this wrong, I do apologise. John, you can maybe correct me. But Fauj?
I'm going to say Fauj.
Fauj. Yeah, that sounds German.
Fauj.
Okay. Fauj. Okay. Fauj it is. TVF's inspiring new show announced, John. This is a follow-up, actually, to one of our watch-along reactions, Sandeep
I was just
series.
thinking Bauji.
And they did Bauji. Yeah.
Bauji,
yeah,
that was the name, wasn't it, of
Yeah.
the grandfather?
Yep.
Bauji. And it was a similar
Yep.
spelling, but with a B, so I'm thinking Fauj.
That makes sense, John.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, well,
I've got
get it
2% Indian
You
in
get
there.
it right most of the time. I think the only one that you didn't get right was the
Erratic.
horrific. Yeah.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a
Yeah.
few I've not got right before.
But yeah, I mean
I'd come for Puramalau.
this was announced at the back end of obviously the Sandeep web series, John, that we watched and we reacted to. New announcement coming from TVF, and I think we missed it by, I think it was yesterday or the day before. No, it was today.
Yeah, it was 24th,
That's today, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're here, we're on the ball.
I think Nick
as
Cage
always.
has been dropped incidentally today on Dead by Daylight. Something to have a look out for that. Nick Cage is
Wow.
on Dead by Daylight.
As a character or just himself?
As a survivor on Dead by Daylight.
Wow, incredible.
I'll show you it in a moment, but that'll be a tangent. I'll do it off screen. You don't have to worry about
That's
that.
okay then. But John, about Fauj, this is obviously in the back end of the Sandeep Bhai series, which was obviously a couple of weeks ago now. It was quite sporadic the way they sort of laced those 5 episodes upon us. There was no set day really. Friday, one day, Tuesday the next, then the one after that on the Thursday, then another one on the Friday again. It was kind of weird. That is weird. Yeah. He looks weird. He's a strange fella at the best. But
It's fucking great, doesn't it? I cannot
David
wait
Guest.
to roll about with Nick Cage and Dead by Daylight.
It's like David
It
Guest.
comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, but John, I don't have my
it's there.
thing in
It's
front
there,
of me.
Stephen.
But yeah, I mean, it's
What
just
are you
further-
wanting to
it's-
read
it's
tonight?
just-
Shall
I
go
just
through
want to really read the synopsis of what the show's about. I think it's just after the plot. Yes, there we go. The plot of Fauj,
plot. So
and I
we'll
think
bring
it's
this up here.
just that. Paragraph there. Fauj is set against the backdrop of courage, bravery, and sacrifice, chronicling the journey of young Indians who aspire to serve in the Indian Army. The show promises to captivate audiences with compelling storytelling as it sheds light on challenges these aspirants face on their path to fulfilling their dreams of donning the uniform, emphasising with a Z. Don't do that. These individuals unwavering spirit and love for their country. Fauj will showcase the indomitable courage and self-dedication that drives them to choose a life of service and courage with themes
Servitude.
of patriotism, camaraderie and self-discovery. The series aims to evoke a profound sense of pride and admiration for those who choose to defend and protect our nation. John, Band of Brothers springs to mind.
That's what springs to me, yeah. Does that not mean like... I don't want to compare it to another thing that came into my head there, connected to sort of military and sort of a welcome and also a goodbye shortened. But it gives me that vibes. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's like a greeting, isn't it? It links to sort of patriotism, India, for India or something like that. Yeah. I don't actually know the actual translation. I'd have to look that up.
I mean, it does say there's a fresh cast of rising talent here, John. I doubt we all know any of them.
No, but Stephen, I think, you're discussing TVF, you're discussing a new TV show, potentially a whole new genre they're exploring on a web series, in a web series, not on a web series. That wouldn't make much sense. And the one thing that springs out time and time again throughout all of the TVF shows we've watched, and we've watched about 5, 6 now, I want to say, Aspirants, Quota Factory, Panchayat, Sandeep Baya, SK Sucky Class. Is there any other ones? We've watched at least 5 pictures, 6 TVF shows to date, and the one thing that continually comes across is that they have, I think, perhaps this side of maybe Marvel pre-2019, the best casting director on the planet, or directors, because their ability to pick out actors who are just perfect for their roles is outstanding. Every single show, the characters are perfect, what they bring is perfect, and they never ever outshine each other. No. They're always working in tandem. It's great ensemble performance.
Apart from Jitendra Kumar being in both Panchayat and Quota Factory in different roles, John.
Obviously, the Vika Studio pictures, and then
but they don't really bleed too many other characters and their actors. Across the other TV series. It is always fresh, isn't it? And that's one of the things I like about their web series as well.
But Stephen,
they go in with fresh faces and introducing you to these fresh faces. You might see the occasional one that pops into another show and stuff like that, but normally when that happens, it's a big part in one show, but maybe diluted in the next. It's not as big, but I like that.
Stephen, they're a small studio. I've came from relative obscurity, sort of humble beginnings, a channel on YouTube, and they've built themselves into this sort of gold standard of excellence for web series. I don't know if they've dipped their toes into movies. I don't think so as of yet. And it's only fitting then that they, coming from that humble beginning and becoming something special, that they would choose to go down the route of casting relative unknown actors, fresh faces, and giving them their break in the industry, and then they go on and grow into be something special. I'm sure before Pictures, Jitendra Kumar wasn't a massive name.
No.
And what he's then done through Quota Factory, Panchayat, obviously it's something special, and it's not just the acting, it's the writing. He's sort of influential behind the camera as well. He's involved. We've seen that with Sandeep Baya. I think he was involved in the production, the producing side of things.
That's right, yeah.
So they've just seemed to have a great harmonious relationship behind the camera, in front of the camera, and it just produces brilliance time and time and time and time again. I've not seen a bad show from them, and I think this is a perfect genre for them to go off and explore. Steve, we spoke about it at the end of Sandeep Baya. Yeah. Their ability to tap in to real human stories that are profound and, I don't know what the word is, important to your average Indian citizen on the ground. It's not these flamboyant,
it's relatable,
larger than life, fucking super heroic stories. They're very relatable human stories, and it's almost like they have a core group of writers, producers who have lived and breathed some of these stories, and they're able to pour some of that into the...
That could be the recruitment process, when they're obviously employing writers. It's let's know your background. Have you got any ideas what you think we could do as a good series? Give us your ideas. Is it your own experience, that kind of thing?
Look at Jitendra Kumar and Quota Factory, Meena. They're IT teens, I think that's how you say it, IT teens. Jitendra also went off and helped coach, I think, and that's something that was really close to his heart. He'd lived and breathed it, and you see that in the performance. He's passionate about it. Mina also in the performance delivers a faithful sort of interpretation of what it's like to be in that situation in this cutthroat environment.
In some ways, they use this formula that they stick to, but in other ways, when it comes to characters, I can't compare any character in any of the series being similar to another character, if you know what I mean.
No.
They're very unique, and as you said, relatable.
Brilliantly
and you
cast.
Do really connect with them as well. And they're brilliantly cast, John. Great actors.
And you right off the top, then you think of Vikas and Panchayat, your man Chand and Roy. Just a brilliant actor. Pops up Pictures prior to that.
Yeah, a little
maybe
cameo,
after actually, because it was Pictures season 2. And that's what you're talking about, Steen. He's got a sizable role in Panchayat. It's just a little cameo role, throwaway in season. Well, from what we've seen anyway, we only seen the first episode before. Down a rabbit hole and had issues trying to get season 1 out.
Yeah, that's right.
Steen, this is a great genre for them to tap into. Again, it's, as I say, it's a relatable story for the average Indian in the street. They're tapping into different sort of levels of society, different, what's the word I'm looking for? Not regions, but different environments. The student side of the thing with Quota Factory, the more mature student side of the thing with aspirants, the start-up thing with obviously Pictures, the village life with Panchayat. They're able to tap into all these different sides of Indian society, and we've not really seen. We've briefly seen it with the son of the Prahlad. I always fuck him up in Panchayat. This sense of sort of service and what it means to not just the fucking armed forces, but also the average man in the street. There was
and their families.
Yeah, it was a real coming together, a camaraderie at his funeral. They all got together and supported.
Yeah, that's a good example of what a taste of what Fauj could be like, John. I was going to ask you actually, is this the kind of series that appeals to you? Do you like this kind of?
Oh, Steve, you mentioned Band of Brothers. Yeah, one of my all-time favourite shows. Obviously, that's a totally different thing. It's World War II, and it's tracking through these.
It's the togetherness, the camaraderie.
That's what made that show, Steve. You'd all these, and again, it went on to be unbelievable names: James McAvoy, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Michael Fassbender. They were all relative unknowns. They were coming through and making their name in that show. They went on to be something really brilliant. Yeah, this could be what we're getting here. It's an inspirational story. These young guys and presumably women trying to make the armed forces, coming from different backgrounds, having different experiences, but having this one sort of dream of getting into the armed forces. And look, you've seen that, well, you've not, but I've seen a little snippet.
I've not watched it, no. I'll watch it after. Yeah.
And it did look fucking pretty inspiring. Yeah. They're running,
I loaded it up in a browser earlier, this actual particular website, John, and it never displayed that. It must have been the browser itself, so I didn't even notice there was a teaser.
That image here, Steve, you see the image, it's like a collage.
Yeah. I'm very interested to know when in 2024 this is dropping. Is it going to be the first part of the year? Now, the reason I'm asking that, John, and the reason I'm wondering is because if it's at a certain point in the year, it kind of gives us an idea perhaps when we're getting season 3 of Panchayat or season 3 of Quota Factory, you know, that kind of thing. I always think these things, I know you think as well, John, when it comes to productions from the same studio, how's this going to affect other ones when they're coming out?
I mean, Steve, I didn't even know Sandeep Bhai was coming out, and then boom, it was out. Yeah. So they're on the ball, and as you can see, we've got a shot of the TV show. They've obviously got a sizable amount of stuff.
It looks like it, yeah. Production,
And this is slick, man. So it looks as though they're quite a bit into post. So I think it could be early 2024.
Yeah, that's good stuff, yeah.
But Steen, I'm always excited to see something new coming from TVF. We didn't even know who these guys were, what this studio was, what they produced up until about 5 months ago. Not even that, 4 months ago. Yeah. And now we're 6 shows deep and absolutely loving the content.
Panchayat, wasn't it?
Panchayat was the first one,
Do you think the way that we were introduced to TVF with Panchayat, John, was how we went on to watch other ones? Do you think if it was any other, do you think if it was maybe aspirants, perhaps?
Oh, absolutely. I love the aspirants.
I love the aspirants, John, but would it have had the same effect? I need to see more of their stuff.
I think so, because you just get a vibe right off the bat that they know what they're doing. Yeah, the stories are compelling. They're from fucking environments that I've never lived in my life, and yet there's the sort of
I think Pictures would have sold it for me. If I had seen that when it first came out, 3 years ago, whatever it was, 4 years ago. Can't remember how long ago it was.
2016.
Was it as
17?
long as that?
Think
Was it
so,
as long
yeah.
as that, John?
It was a bit back, yeah.
You know, I would have been hooked on it. I'd have been, this is a great production. I love the characters. I love the writing, you know, in the story. I want to see more of that stuff. Yeah.
It's consistent,
Yeah.
Steve, and every show is great. The casting's great, the acting's great, the technical stuff. You've seen it, they're releasing it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's 4K. It's absolutely outstanding technically. I see no reason why.
I thought the Sandeep one, the quality of the production was fantastic. Just the actual visuals.
Yeah.
Because of that 4K, John, it's something that we're not used to seeing. Not even in Western web series. I don't know.
Because we get it locked at 1080p.
Yeah, I don't think Disney Plus go that far either.
I think there's a 4K option on Prime, but
I think it's
even COVID, they downsized it.
I think it's down to the. I think like the likes of Disney are looking at the market of people on devices and looking at most people will be watching these series probably on a TV, and then they'll do their research on how many people have actually got 4K TV, you know, and how many have got.
I had a 4K monitor and gave it up because at the time my graphics card was toiling.
Yeah,
I could easily power a 4K monitor, but I've just like Quad HD and it's still sharp as hell.
Do you like what they've been doing lately though, John, with the length?
Stuff.
The length of the series, the 5 episode.
I think that's perfect, Stephen.
Yeah, we were first introduced to that in Aspirants. I'm sure. I don't think Panchayat was 8, was it?
It was 8.
Yeah.
Even that's fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been on and on, John. I'd still be watching that now if it was just a long run.
Addictive. It was great. The theme, everything. Just loved it. The way it kicked in. The characters were brilliant. I just loved that village lifestyle, and so much so it's that I actually wanted to fucking go.
Yeah.
And stay in a village.
Yeah.
And I've actually watched a guy who ended up marrying, I think, an Indian family, and he goes and visits his wife's family, and they stay in a rural Indian setting.
It might still happen for you, John. It might still happen. You've got a lot of love on YouTube, I've noticed. Yeah.
Not fucking willing anything into the universe, but I'm just saying it almost. I mean, Stain, I've always says to you, at some point I'd love to sit, maybe not in India because it's a bit fucking warm. But my ultimate sort of ambition is when I'm a old man, chilling out in a fucking nice back garden in the country, reading a book, sipping a whiskey. That'll do me.
Yeah.
That'll do
Peace
me.
And quiet, yeah.
Peace and quiet. Right now I'm still fucking want to be in a city. But when I'm like 50, 60, that's 50's not old. I take that back immediately.
That's definitely not.
60, 70.
I'm getting there, so
60, 70. 60, 70, I want to be sipping a whiskey in a back garden somewhere.
Yeah, John,
out in the middle of nowhere.
I do it now, but it's not quiet. It's not in the middle of nowhere.
For the country.
Yeah, kind of.
Technically green belt.
We're not that far from sheep, I suppose.
Well, when the farmer's firing his gun at the back of 12 at night.
Cockerel as well.
When you're walking your dog and the dog shits himself, not literally, but runs back to the house, I'd say we're on the farm. Yeah, we're right out there.
In the country. Yeah, anyway.
Prick,
John, I don't know if you've got any much more to say about Fauj or TVF as a whole.
Just that really looking forward to it, Stephen. Looking forward to how they tap into another side of Indian society, human ground level story, how they cast it, how the writing's going to be, how they release it, because I'd like to see it on YouTube again. I think it's a brilliant format they've got. It's accessible, it's free, but that's not really, I mean, I'd pay for it. I'd happily subscribe. Like, if you had to become a member for TVF, I'd do it, no problem.
I can't see your mob sponsoring this one. What are they called? Unacademy.
No, but I'm sure they've got sponsors, Steve. And look, if it is behind a paywall, absolutely fine. I just wish that the Viral Fever app was available here, because I would absolutely pay. I'd pay. You want to be able to give something back to people who are producing great content.
Exactly.
And we've had 6 fucking unbelievable shows. The views we've got from it, the community that's been built off it. I'd like to give something back. So if it's fucking, you have to pay to see it, then so be it.
It's worth
Looking forward to it.
Definitely worth it, John. But we're going to move on to our next topic, which is a kind of a double topic coming into the one thing now. It's music news we're talking about here. And we're going to be talking about our favourite band, the Beatles, because
the Beatles.
One of the reasons is that we've not really covered the whole last Beatles song that's going to be coming out apparently in a couple of months, because it dropped and we were too busy. I don't think we were doing anything live. That was the problem. We were too busy doing obviously watch along, so we didn't really get a chance to talk about this, John. I was listening to this podcast from a chap called Penn Jillette. It's a podcast on Apple Music.
Gillette.
Which is weird. It's weird because it says the internet is rife with rumours stemming from a now deleted episode. I actually listened to the episode. And just to give you an idea, Penn Jillette's podcast.
It's one thing I need to start doing, listening to more podcasts.
Him and this guy called Taylor, I think his name is, are both US magicians known from television, and they were putting on a series of shows in London. Giles Martin was in the audience. And after the show, Martin met Penn and invited him to come and see the studios at Abbey Road. A lucky bugger. And what happened was, in Abbey Road, Giles took them, obviously, a tour, and did a playback of the upcoming final Beatles song, which we do think it's going to be Now and Then.
Yeah, it is.
And he also told them about the upcoming Beatles releases, which we'll get to in a little moment, because that excites me just as equally. Now, this is talking about, obviously, the Now and Then, and what, according to Gillette, now, when I was listening to this podcast, John, so take this with a little grain of salt, it's probably just misremembering stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, first and foremost, getting invited to Abbey Road with Giles Martin and then try to absorb that information? So we'll let him off the hook here.
Sitting with Giles.
I would be absolutely buzzing. I would think I was dreaming. I wouldn't be taking everything in that he was saying, because I wouldn't believe I was there. But he did mention a few things that I went, that's not quite right. He did say what happened is it's a recording from what Paul got and showed to George in the 80s. It wasn't the 80s, it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And there was a few other things as well that were just
But did Yoko not, did John not write for Paul?
Yeah.
So is it possible that maybe post John's death that Yoko maybe gave something to Paul?
It was the tape. It was. I'll tell you exactly what the meeting was, John. It was arranged.
Because they met throughout the 80s, because you've got fucking images you post up in a certain group.
The tape that had the 4 songs on it, which was Free as a Bird, Real Love, Now and Then, and Grow With Me, was on a cassette that said for Paul, as you said, John, and it was passed to Paul at John's induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994.
There you go, 94 it was.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was 94.
I can't believe she held on to that for 14 fucking years.
Yeah. Now, anyone that knows the story knows that obviously Real Love and Free as a Bird were the releases. Grow With Me actually came out a few years ago with Ringo. Paul on the bass, and Joe Walsh, I think, played guitar. So it's got to be Now and Then. It's got to be that.
Now and Then.
And we've heard versions of it, John. We've heard the raw tape of it, obviously just Lennon and the piano and the static and all that, because it was all locked into the one cassette recording.
And I've heard Justin Hawkins.
And now we know when they're talking about
exactly what they can do.
The AI treatment, it's not generating stuff from nowhere. It's what they're going to do is they're going to take Lennon's voice and take that away from the noise, and then use that as a new track. That's
exactly what he spoke about. He says, look, it's almost in a sense what you can do with mixing or isolating tracks, but it can do it a lot more clinically.
Now, there was a part of this podcast that I thought was very funny. Apparently Giles Martin phoned Ringo and said, we need you to play a part on this track.
Was he not involved?
And Ringo said, I don't want to do it. And Giles said, what do you mean you don't want to do it? You're the Beatles drummer. This is going to be the last Beatles recording, and you're saying you don't want to do it. Okay, I'll do it. So Ringo's on board. So what's happened is, John, George went off the idea, and anyone that's seen that documentary, I think it was the Jeff Lynne documentary, Paul was talking about, George kind of went off. John's writing was getting a bit off at that point. Really, George? Listen to your own stuff.
Fighting the forces at the dark. What is it? The fucking can't remember it.
Oh, terrible.
Darkness of the forces invitation.
I think George could be quite funny at times, and sometimes funny, you know. But apparently there is guitar from George recorded from the anthology. It'll be rhythm. Paul's new vocals.
It disappoints me that he didn't do like a lovely sort of clean toned, clean boosted, beautiful little Strat number.
Well, I think Paul's stepping in to do the lead on this one.
As long as George put down the actual notes for it, and he's just
not just that,
playing it.
His voice is going to be there as well, John. Paul's new vocals have the AI treatment to make him sound younger, which you like.
Excites me.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, because that's something we've been exploring over the last 3, 4, 5 months since this AI music thing started proper kicking off on YouTube. And there's been a lot of people taking his modern day music, which I'll openly admit I've not listened to anywhere near as much as his 90s going into. Probably I'd say New was the last album I properly listened to.
Yeah.
They've been taking it and they've been putting the 70s, 80s Macca voice on the actual song, using AI. They've
Egypt Station album.
Yeah, like 70s, 80s. And it reinvigorates the whole fucking songs.
It's incredible.
You realise that the man has still got it in terms of the melody, the songwriting. It's just that his voice is weaker now, which happens. He's in his 80s. Yeah. So what they're doing with that, and this is just shit kickers in the fucking street. This isn't guys that have got access to top quality like algorithms or even the Peter Jackson stuff. Yeah. They're delivering a whole new listening experience with modern day McCartney music. And we joke, Stephen, I wonder if Paul will get in about this, because he knows that he's still, musician wise, fucking one of the absolute goats. Yeah. Can play 40, 50 different instruments.
Oh, he's incredible.
But his voice with age is just not quite what it was. And he looks as though he is tapping into
it. Proves he's human, John. But the next part is John Paul and George Harmony's vocals from Because. I think it's an outtake from Because. Have been repurposed as backing vocals for Now and Then, so that introduces George into the harmonies. I always felt Paul and George's harmonies were the best.
Yeah.
And I think you've heard the sort of you've heard that fake Now and Then, haven't you? The fake one that was composed. I can't remember what I can't remember what the channel's called, but
that was decent.
I don't know if you know this though. Now and Then, all those ones that were on YouTube for over a decade have all been pulled.
There you go. It's confirmation.
So, and that version that we're talking about had the harmony vocals from Because Everybody's Laughing. That it had that at the very end, as I recall. So I think they have heard that. I think they've heard that and went, that's fucking good. There are orchestral and horn overdubs. That will be Giles Martin's division. Ringo didn't want to drum on it initially, but eventually came around to it, as we know. We'll talk about the Red and Blue stuff, John, in a little moment. But Ringo has already confirmed that George plays rhythm guitar on the track, of course, prior to him abandoning further work on the track and calling it rubbish. We have our doubts, but he has been using auto-tune lately, so who knows. A YouTuber previously did just that. Weird if they repeated that in the studio. I think that's what they are doing. I think they are going to. I don't think they're going to light for light, but I think they took it, as you said, inspiration.
No,
John.
But they'll do something a little bit more subtle with it, won't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Giles Martin, a man we used to kind of slag off Stephen back in the day, but we've warmed him because he's a cool fucking guy and he really does know what he's doing in a studio. And what he's been doing with access to that Peter Jackson technology is just remarkable. That last remix was
it was incredible,
unbelievable.
Yeah, Revolver,
And the way he broke it down, he positioned the tracks, the instruments in a way where it sits you in the middle of Studio 2, Abbey Road, where they would have been.
Yeah.
If you're listening to it with fucking Dolby Atmos, spatial audio like Shadow, you can almost shut your eyes and picture where they are in the studio. And as opposed to this just binary stereo, left and right, and you're sort of limited to what you can do with different instruments. They're stuck on one side and that on that side. He's freed it up.
Yeah.
And I just think the guy's a fucking genius. He really is.
John, we saw that in the World War I documentary.
He shall not grow old. Which
I thought was incredible, the way he was able to separate stuff, animate still pictures and join it together. Just the technology. I think it's called MAL software. I think it's Peter Jackson's MAL software.
That may have been early AI because they were filling in frames.
Yeah.
They were drawing in frames to make it more fluid.
I assume what the next frame was.
Because it was jerky because of the camera.
I'm going to jump now, John. Yeah. Because that obviously does excite us, and I'll get your thoughts on that in a little moment. Will you buy it?
Of course I'll fucking buy it.
Will you sit up all night waiting for its premiere?
I'll buy it
like I did for Fraser Bird. Now, the interesting bit about the new song as well, John, will it appear on the new Blue album bonus track alongside Freezer Bird and Real Love?
I'm going to search that up.
How interesting would that be?
The Blue album and the Red album, so I can get
track listings.
Because I'm intrigued. It's been a while since I've actually had a little gander at it. And then we'll go Red album.
Well, we'll get right into it as well, John.
I think it's basically the singles, isn't it, really?
Well, I'll get right into this now then, the second part of this conversation, and it is all about the Red and Blue albums. And we can get back to, obviously, the Now and Then stuff, obviously, sporadically. But, John, this was the other part of the podcast where Giles mentioned this is the next project. We all assumed it would be from Revolver right into Rubber Soul, because they're working back the way. But they're doing the Blue album, they're doing the Red album. These were the first two.
Soul. That's one of my favourites.
These were the first two Beatles things I had in terms of records. Was the Blue album and the Red album in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And as most people know, I think in the Red album, the first 4 or 5 tracks are in mono. They were never recorded in stereo.
That's interesting.
So there's opportunities there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's I like the mono stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realise until they released those box sets. I think it was free at a vinyl release because I know Dave Grohl bought it and just left it with his daughters.
Yeah.
His daughter's now a singer, by the way. She came on the stage at Glastonbury.
Wow.
Fucking couldn't believe it was her. It was actually his daughter.
Yeah.
She can sing. Loves the Beatles, but also he had the stereo release that I bought and the mono release.
Yeah.
And listening to the mono stuff on YouTube, incidentally bootlegged, I'm not even going to lie, because I couldn't afford to buy the two at the time, and I'm not going to buy it now. I couldn't believe the differences in some of the songs. The mixes were totally different.
Yeah.
And the mono releases, because that was the dominant sort of medium at the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't stereo until the later era of the Beatles when it transitioned to stereo. So stuff on fucking Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper's, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, totally different mixes.
Lucy in the Sky with diamonds. Yeah.
Totally different singing, totally different instrumental stuff going on, completely different songs. It was unbelievable. So I don't know if that's the same with this. I don't know. I've not actually listened to it in a while.
I mean, it's a lot of information for Giles to be working on, isn't it? It's not just one album. You're talking, it's probably about 4 albums.
It's almost like the fucking back catalogue condensed as well.
Yeah. I mean,
like
John, I know a lot of people, I think a lot of people didn't like the mixes that initially were released from these ones, and I know in a way they weren't
Red and Blue
official.
Album,
They weren't official. They weren't official Apple releases. I think was it EMI that released them?
The best covers of any Beatles album, though. I just love that bookending, the beginning and the end. They're in the same spot.
Well, the intent was obviously for Let It Be album to
that'd have been done. That would have been brilliant.
Incredible. Yeah,
that would have been absolutely superb. I don't know why they didn't do that, but then I don't know. Fucking
blame Phil Spector for that.
Exactly. It was an iconic fucking cover, isn't it? I mean, I love the Let It Be stuff. Yeah, you look at try listening, Stephen. I mean, I'll bring it up if we don't get fucking copyright claim by the Beatles for bringing up a fucking track listing from Wikipedia. I'd imagine we'll be gold there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at that. I mean, that's also this is the fucking
we'll go
1962, 66.
Yeah.
I mean, all the songs you would want to hear are there, and it's just again hearing different mixes.
John, a lot of these are on the number one album. A lot of them are on the past masters as well.
It's a fresh mix,
but it's something different as well. Because I know that obviously "Please Please Me" didn't make it onto. I don't know if it was number one. That's why it wasn't on the number one album. So I doubt it got to number one. Love Me Do didn't get to number one here. It must have gotten to number one in the US for that to be on the one album. But
must have been delayed as well.
And Strawberry Fields is nowhere to be seen on the number one album. It was a double A side with Penny Lane, but Penny Lane's on it.
Have they got You Know My Name? Look up a number. Because that was a B. That was a B side.
No, I don't think so.
To Let It Be, wasn't it?
Old Brown Shoe, yeah.
I can't believe them. I mean, I love Old Brown Shoe. I listened to that daily.
That'll be interesting to see the mix on that.
Yeah, the bass is fucking god tier.
Yeah.
And it was Macca. I used to think it was George. Macca on the bass.
Yeah.
Man was a fucking genius. Picked it up. Didn't even want to play it. Became the fucking goat in the instrument.
I mean,
John
you look
Entwistle, step the fuck aside.
I mean, there is ones there like Yellow Submarine, Eleanor Rigby. I think Giles is just going to pick up from the Revolver recordings and just stick them on. Why remix them again? They're already been remixed.
Unless it's a different version again, if it's a mono version or whatever, and it's slightly different.
Question for you: what Love Me Do version will it be? Will it be the one with? Is it?
I'm going to tell you.
Is it going to be the Ringo one?
It's the one.
It was later
released.
So the one on the album is the Ringo one.
It's the Ringo one.
The single wasn't the Ringo one, wasn't it?
So they're saying single released 62.
Later released. I don't know.
The single's the non-Ringo version, but I think Ringo will kick up a fuss.
Similar. Yeah, I think it will be his. Yeah. What was his name? Andy White or something? I can't remember.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a Scotsman. What the fuck is that? It's a moth.
A moth. Yeah.
The Mothman. Stephen, look, just hearing all these songs, man, I can't wait for them. I mean, I'm hoping he's going to go through the entire sort of discography of the Beatles realistically and do it all. I know as it gets into the earlier albums, it becomes more complicated because they are in mono.
Yeah.
And what the fuck do you do with that?
It tells you there, John. The 1963 "Love Me Do"
fake stereo
it's a fake stereo, which is I think was really bad. I think it was a really bad taking the mono and I think they just it wasn't proper stereo.
It'll be a fucking test of the technology, and that's for sure. If they can isolate the instruments.
Yeah.
But then there's also the danger when you start getting.
Do you know how deep they go with this? I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you know how deep they're going with this? And just getting back to the now and then, I read, and I don't know if it was perhaps in the podcast or not, but I read that the recording they're using from John Lennon's vocals, they took his vocals out, but they had to remove, obviously, the piano, and they had to remove the static, but they also had to remove a TV that was playing in the background. That's how
crazy.
deep this AI goes.
How did they even isolate the TV? That's mad. Because I know he was doing like a lot of fucking wacky stuff in the late 70s.
It makes you wonder, though, that, you know, in terms of Freeze a Bird, Real Love, Now and Then, and Grow Old With Me, why none of them were on Double Fantasy? They all, round about 1978, these were recorded.
Maybe just decided, as you said,
tonally they went right. Yeah.
And he didn't think there were ones that would fit. Maybe he was already thinking we'll get together at some point, because it was almost...
Could be,
It was near hits, well, near misses with them getting back together.
Yeah.
Also, the Lost Weekend, it was a year in LA.
Yeah.
Him and Keith Moon and
Tooting a Snore in
was it Keith Moon?
Yeah, Tooting a Snore in 74, yeah. It was a lot of... I remember John talking about that. He says it was me and Paul were there, but there was another 50 musicians around as well, and they were all looking at us.
I would fucking love to have been there. I can't tell you how much. I think
it was a rabble, to be fair.
No, I'd have loved to have been around in that time. Do you always say, Stephen, Keith Moon, man, would have been a fucking incredible to go on a night out with. Unbelievable. Guy was mental.
I would not try and compete with him.
No, I wouldn't compete with him, but I'd enjoy the ride. I tell you that.
I wouldn't have lived to see the tale. Tell the tale. But John,
man, it puts dynamite in fucking hotel seats, his toilet seats.
I mean, it's all good stuff coming out at the moment, and
it is. And Stephen, it goes back to what he says after the sort of fucking. I'm always blanking. Get Back. It wasn't Let It Be. It was Get Back.
Peter Jackson's Get Back. Yeah.
After that, we pondered: is this the end for the Beatles? Is this the last piece of content we're going to get, be it in video format or actual audio format? How much more is there to mine into? Obviously, Giles has been going back and remastering, but now you're starting to get a new song coming out, and it just shows you there's always something there to be give a new lick of paint. They'll always discover something. Paul's really opened up this fucking what would you call it? Gallery with all his photographs. There's a documentary potentially coming out with that. They're so interesting. Man on the Run was the other one, isn't it? The one obviously after the Beatles, his documentary on that as well. There's so many interesting things happening. There's always stuff coming out relating to them, and the fact they're still relevant all these years later. And someone called it, I don't know who the fuck it was, but they says, I think it may have been a fan or something. They'll still be around. 2 generations on, people will be listening, and they are. Yeah.
John, I was just thinking back when you were saying that there as well, in terms of what Giles has been working on. Now, just going back after the Red and Blue albums, which will probably come out maybe next year or something like that, depending on how far he's along. But you've got Rubber Soul, you've got Help, you've got, I think, 4 albums after prior to that as well, 4 or 5 albums. So you're talking perhaps maybe a good decade's worth of stuff still to come out.
Still to come out, yeah.
So I'll be hitting 60 by that point, which is good, because I want Beatles in my life till I'm not here any longer. I don't want it to end and there's nothing.
And Stephen,
because there was a long period, John, 1970 to 1992, I think, when the BBC album came out. It was a long period of nothing. It was a long period of Beatles weren't fashionable.
Well, you had the BB, the first one, didn't you? And then I get the second one.
Yeah.
I remember when that released. Buzzing.
That's right, yeah.
Obviously, Macca's Band on the Run, I think, released as well.
And again, there was obviously a lot of legal things going on in the 70s and the 80s that they just could not do anything. You know, obviously they had to see out contracts, etc. But it is a good time to be alive if you're a Beatles fan.
Fucking really is, Steve. And it's good to see some people are not scared of the technology side of things, the AI side of things. I understand it's a precarious line that they're treading.
Yeah.
And you can go off and start churning out soulless shite that's got no human touch. But as long as there's a human touch here...
Like the Beatles singing Wonderwall.
Yeah, exactly. I listened to one the other day. It was fucking haunting. What was it, man? Oh my God, it was fucking terrifying.
But there is some good ones
Lennon,
out there.
It was like... I'm like... the fuck was that? People are saying it was good.
What was that? Yeah.
What the fuck? It sounded indecipherable from a real song. I'm like, no, it didn't.
I mean, there is a good one. I liked the one they did with New, and they added John coming in there. You can do what you want. I loved that. And I loved the stuff from Egypt Station as well. The one that it starts off with the piano. You introduced it to me. I can't remember what it's called. Can't remember, John, but it was the one where it's all right. I can't remember what it's called, but you introduced it to me, John, and there is some good ones out there, but it is that. I don't know. That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's a good song. A good Paul McCartney song. But they made his, as you said, they made his voice young in that. They de-aged his voice, and it just sounded incredible.
And you see how fucking great he still is.
I'm like, that sounds like round about the time he was doing Maybe I'm Amazed.
Yeah,
that voice that he had at that point.
That was his best era for me. I'm sorry.
His voice was
post Beatles. I know he was in a depressive state.
His voice was really haunting. Yeah,
I mean, even now he tries to sing it, and I'm like, please don't, Paul. It was straining your vocal range when you were 30.
Yeah.
Not even 30.
What are you looking forward to the most, John? You're looking forward to the new single?
I'm looking forward to the new single the most, Stephen, because it's fresh, it's something new.
Do you like that song though?
I do like now and then, I think it's good, Stephen. I'm fucking Lennon.
Do you think it's quite poignant, the fact that, you know,
I'm a Lennon sycophant. I like everything he fucking put out.
John Lennon's last words to Paul McCartney was, remember me every now and then.
Yeah, so Stephen, I think there's so many little things like that. Yeah. Even the little, I mean, I keep mentioning this, there's probably no connection in this whatsoever. I think it was just a word that Mackie was using at that point. Drag.
Yeah.
I get back to, I think it was, what was his song? Misery, I think it was. I don't know if it was that, but there was a reference and they used that word. And I'm like, in my mind, I think Mac is that deep. Yeah. He's probably went back and looked thing with that, and it's like misery.
Yeah.
The connotations with misery.
Yeah, I don't think people picked up
on
that.
It's gonna be a drag, misery. I'm thinking he's getting back to that.
It's a drag.
He's probably listening to it.
Yeah, you get pillared for it, John.
He went into the studio and fucking lost himself for half a day.
I think most people that know Paul's feelings towards John, despite the business stuff, remained the same.
That whole thing was a nonsense. Going up to a guy the day he's fucking one of his best, his friends, a guy who was like a brother to him, has been assassinated and asking him his opinion. What do you think he's feeling? You fucking clown. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
This is a problem, and it's something that's growing worse and worse with modern day society.
To be fair to Macca, he's always admitted that he's not the best in front of cameras at showing his emotions.
He's not the best at showing emotions, period, Stephen. You read his book and the losses, I think it was his mother.
Yeah.
He was hard. He didn't like grieving. He had problems with grieving.
Yeah, the first thing he asked his dad was what we're going to do for money.
He had issues with grieving, and everyone grieves differently.
That's it.
Doesn't mean he's not feeling it or he's being insensitive. It just means he's a human being and he grieves differently.
Where I think it's Desert Island Discs where he picks one of John Lennon's songs from Double Fantasy.
Yeah,
Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful Boy, and he's crying.
He's turns his head away from the camera. He can't handle it. Yeah.
So in short, I do like now and then. Yeah. George was wrong. As he was about a great many things. They were all wrong.
That's the thing I want to ask you about George though, John. He's vetoed that. Now, they always said the Beatles was a democracy. If one vetoed it, it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, John wanted
Are you okay with... obviously, Danny and Olivia have gave it the green light. Are you okay with that? Now that George isn't here, who didn't green light it,
I mean, it's a democracy.
His wife and they're the estate, aren't they? They manage the estate of George Harrison now. They've okayed it. So
but it's still a democracy, Stephen, because... John also wanted it because he wouldn't have wrote for Paul.
Yeah.
So he obviously had visions of something getting done with it. Also, Ringo's okay with it. Mac is okay with it.
Yoko's okay with it.
Yoko's okay with it. So she's like the sort of front for John.
Yeah. I think it's Sean now.
Sean's clearly okay with it. And if Danny's
pal
okay,
Sean, yeah,
I fucking like Sean Lennon. I think he's an absolutely class guy. Cool as hell. Just the epitome of New York.
Yeah.
Something, him and Mark Rebier, they're the two guys I think of when I think in New York. Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan. I know he's from Duluth, but he went to New York.
Yeah.
They are what New York is for me. The artistic, the music scene, that is New York. You show me Sean Lennon with a tank top playing fucking Intuition on a guitar, and I'm like, that's fucking New York.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy, fucking brilliant guy. And these weird little fucking creatures who hate on him in certain spheres of the internet. How can you hate on Sean Lennon?
Because his mother.
Because of his mother.
I don't have an issue with
his mother.
I don't bother about. I don't mind Yoko. I'll be honest with you. I don't mind her at all. I don't think she's a saint or an angel in the whole story or anything like that.
Definitely is.
She's definitely had manipulation and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, she's not fucking Hitler.
But there's definitely a passive racist thing going on with Asian culture.
I love the way that the Beatles portrayed her. Her grandfather invented World War II, and Yoko thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, but there's definitely a malevolence in Western society when it comes to Asians and Asian culture. It's tolerated by some, and I'm fucking sorry, it's not tolerated by me.
No,
it's a disgrace. Shut the fuck up.
They really need to have a look at themselves.
They really do. I need to have a look at themselves. But yeah, I'm looking forward to now and then. I really am. I'm looking forward to, and it is now and then, I'm looking forward to hearing this, taking it, hearing Macca. Hopefully, Macca's voice just seems to be perfect. The older voice getting done as a younger version, that's the one thing that's good in all these sort of crummy.
And is Giles Martin the man to carry it forward on the legacy of the Beatles? Yeah,
absolutely, the man to carry it forward. He's a fucking cool guy, a wizard at these sort of mixing desks.
Yeah, he worked with his dad on the Love
album. His dad,
it's
a get continuity. Yeah. So the Love album was amazing.
It was,
that. I mind you buying that back in the day.
Oh, listening to that in the car, fantastic.
Absolutely outstanding. It was surround sound, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just my one regret is they didn't take that theatrical experience outside of that.
Vegas.
Yeah. If they brought that into it, and in fact, if they do bring it onto it, I will be there.
Yeah.
That at the Hydro.
Even watching the actual performance, the circus performance, that'd be entertaining enough.
The experience is incredible.
But having those speakers built into every individual seat and listening to
Steve,
that.
To this day, Get Back's one of my favourite Beatles songs, and that's the best mix of Get Back I've ever heard. The guitar from John is just unbelievable.
Yep.
And I actually need to go and listen to that tonight.
Yeah.
Because I've not listened
to
that.
So we're signing off, folks.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to that.
Yeah.
Because that is the greatest fucking Get Back version ever. Get the intro again, because why not? There's going to be a cluster. Fuck. Because I got to control all this manually. I have to set up this stream deck again, Stephen. Because this is an absolute shambles.
Well, we're going to have a period of unrest on the channel, John, when the move's happening and stuff like that. So it might be a time for a reapproach, new graphics, new look,
I was thinking about format. Well, I mean, I've not even put movie news on or nothing.
It'll give me a chance to go on a diet as well.
I need to go on a diet as well.
Come back as a new person as well.
I need to get down to this is an oversized
John,
medium.
You need to grow the beard back. Everyone's asking where's the beard.
No, I'm not growing the beard back.
Yeah, you see those faces, man.
No, I'm quite happy looking like 25 again. To be honest with you, I don't want to go back to looking 40. Nope. Quite happy. I was looking at photographs of myself last night when I was 25 in 2014, and I was comparing myself to then, and I tell you, there's not much difference.
No,
I had more hair back then, but I had a lot more hair back then, but there's no difference in the face. I have not aged in the last. So was that fucking 10 years? Not aged a fucking bit.
So if there's any skincare products that would like advertised on our channel, please get in touch with us.
Yeah, shea butter.
Yeah.
Butter.
We'll promote you.
I tell you, Stephen, I'm going off on a tangent again before we round this up. The South Koreans are the absolute fucking epitome of beauty, looking after yourself. They don't put chemicals in their face. It's all natural stuff. Shea butter is natural.
And
it's got anti-fucking oxidants, anti-everything. It's got natural sources of vitamin E, vitamin C, D, I think. It's almost like fucking hyaluronic, natural hyaluronic. It is a fucking absolute wonder product. Get on the shea butter. I've tried it all, man. I've been down in collagen. Shea butter. Do it if you want to fucking maintain, and use SPF.
Yeah.
Got to use sun protection. So there you go. There's my little end thing to maintain your age. And I'm going to maintain this age long term. So the beard's not coming back. That's what I'm saying. I digress. What's your thoughts?
Which I never mentioned.
What's your thoughts on Fauj from TVF being announced? An all-new show coming out next year. We don't know which point next year it's going to come out, but we do know that it's coming out next year. An inspirational story about a group of gals trying to get into the military in India from a great studio. Share your thoughts down below about that. Share your thoughts down below about the Beatles, the new song coming out. More information from a now deleted podcast episode revealing that Macca will be de-aging his voice. There's a fucking rhythm track from George, Ringo's drumming. Whole lot of things going on. Red album, Blue album's getting remixed by the great Giles Martin. Anything you feel compelled to share about that can also go down below in the comment section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs on YouTube. Follow button notifications button over in Twitch for the exact same thing. Also have to be said, as ever, is thank you once again for watching us. And until the next time, me and Stephen are done.